Hey guys, a quick note before we get started today. I started recording this episode and had every intention for it to be about maybe 15, 20 minutes. Honey, it ended up being way longer than that. I'm embarrassed to tell you how long this episode ended up being. Having said that, what I decided to do is cut this episode into 2 parts. So you're going to get 6 self-care ideas today and 6 self-care ideas in part 2 of this episode, okay? So sit back, relax. Y'all remember that commercial, sit back, relax, and get quietly rich? Where are they? Because I do want to get quietly rich, honey. Anyway, I digress. Sit back, relax, and get these 6 self-care ideas that you should have on your list. And in the next episode, I'm going to give you the next 6, okay? All right, sis, take care, and let's go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiff, your relationship transformation coach. I've spent the past 20 years working with high-achieving women just like you who are crushing it in every area of their lives, everywhere except their relationships. And look, I get it. Finding the one ain't easy, and relationships are hard. But you know what's even harder? Cycling through the bad ones, or worse, staying in relationships when you already know they're not a good fit. You want a relationship of ease, uncomplicated, someone to love you down, but instead you've been suffering through bad dates, sexual incompatibility, and someone who might be good for somebody, but not for you. And if we're really being honest, you know that deep down, the work that really needs to be done starts and ends with you. If you're done wasting time in dead-end relationships and sick of looking for, chasing after, or trying to convince somebody to be the one, and you're ready to become the one, then baby, you're in the right place. So prop your feet and let's clink glasses, because I'm giving you the tea and the tips to fix your relationships. Let's go. Hello and welcome to Fix Your Relationships podcast. I am your host, Dr. Tiff, Dr. Tiffany Davis Henry. I want to welcome you to the show today. I am super excited to talk to you about one of my favorite topics. I feel like it's a necessary thing. You know, anytime I struggle with creativity and have like these mind blocks of what to talk about with you guys on the podcast, you know, this podcast is all about fixing those relationships. But the most important relationship that we work on and work through and work on fixing is our relationship with self. And to that end, today's episode is all about self-care, but self-care in a little bit of a different way, not the way in which we sometimes think about it. Self-care is about true self-care, and self-care in the way in which I think about it is really about being intentional with our self-care. And so I want to share something with you. It's a definition of intentional self-care, because that's the brand of self-care that I actually push. Is intentional self-care. And intentional self-care means deliberately engaging in your self-care activities with the intent or mindset of preserving your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health and well-being. It's about thinking ahead of time. It's about determining why we're taking care of ourselves in the manner and the way in which we're taking care of ourselves. What's the point in doing it? So a lot of times when we think about self-care, we're thinking about, I'm going to get a mani-pedi. I'm going to go for a massage. I'm going to get a facial. And that's cute. And that's not to say that those things aren't self-care, but what is the intention behind that practice? Why are you doing it? Yes, your nails are raggedy and your cuticles need to be pushed back. But why are we doing this thing right now? And how does it benefit us beyond this moment? Let me give you an example. The bubble bath. And I entitled this episode Beyond the Bubble Bath because I want you to go beyond just sitting in a tub of your own filth. Okay. That's my thing about bubble baths. I can't stand it. Anyway, but some people love it, and I'm not going to yuck your yum. Beyond the bubble bath. So it's not just about, and many of you know this, it's not just about getting in the tub and having the bubbles. It's about the solitude. Even if there's not the bubble bath involved, I think one of the best places for women to hide out is the bathroom. It's a small room, not room for a whole bunch of people. It's usually very quiet. No one wants to be in there, especially if you're doing your business, if you know what I mean. But you can go in, you can lock the door, you can have your private time. People tend to, unless have a dog that likes to bust in the door when you're using a bath, they don't care about your self-care time, okay? They don't care about you needing some alone time to debrief or whatever. They're like, listen, you're my person and I'm yours, so deal with it. We gonna get through this self-care thing together. I digress. The bathroom usually is a place in which we can have our alone time. And so being intentional about your self-care, whether it's the bubble bath, your shower, bathroom time, whatever, the intention is I need quiet time to collect my thoughts, to not be responsible for anybody or anything. I need to shut out, literally shut out the outside noise and the complaints and the frustration and the chaos of the day, the week, the month, the minute. And I can do that by going into my bathroom. And so my intention, my deliberate intention behind that bubble bath might just be, I need alone time. It's not about getting clean. It's not about relaxing in the tub. It might be that water soothes me. It soothes my spirit and clears my mind. And I just need that time so I can make some decisions about the things that I need to do. I'm being very deliberate about making this appointment with myself. That's what we mean by being intentional with our self-care practice. It's a deliberate attempt to preserve our mental, physical, emotional, spiritual well-being, to preserve it, to make sure that it is readily available when we need it later on down the road. It's about replenishing our emotional, mental, physical capacity, making sure that we're taking care of things before we run out of steam, before we run out of energy, before we run out of gas, okay? So being very intentional. So today, what I thought I would do is give you some ideas about what you could do self-care wise, 10 self-care. Well, I have more than 10. Y'all know me. I come up with a number and then God says, girl, please stop playing. So I've got probably about 13. Something else may come to me. I don't know. Gotta let you know. So let's just say 13 self-care ideas that should be on your list if they aren't. And we are going beyond the bubble bath today. You can still have your bubble bath if you want. You can still go get your nails done. I got an appointment to get mine done tomorrow. Okay? These are some self-care ideas that I want you to consider putting on your list, your intentional list, to be deliberate about these things because they are meant to help you, again, preserve your mental, physical, emotional, financial, spiritual well-being, all the things. Help you to have it later on down the line when you really do need it. That is intentional self-care. So, and this is not in any kind of order. My lists never are because you can get in where you fit in, okay? All right, number 1 on my list, make that doctor's appointment. How many of you guys, and this is why this is number 1 on the list for me, and why I'm saying this number 1 is because I have 2 doctor's appointments that I need to make that I have been putting off, probably 3, if I'm being honest. And that is, as soon as I finish doing this podcast today, that is my number 1 priority. That is something that I feel like we as women kind of can put off. Like I make sure my daughter does her dental exam, does her yearly checkup, everything. I'm on time with her stuff, but mine, honey, I will put it off. And that is not okay. I've got to be deliberate about my own health, my own well-being, and making those doctor's appointments and follow-ups. It has to be a priority. So if you need an idea on how you can better take care of yourself and be more deliberate, number 1 on my list, make that doctor's appointment. Okay? Me and you both, we'll both do it together. Okay? After you finish listening to this podcast, go ahead and pull over if you're listening while you're driving, or slam that laptop if you're at work. And let's go ahead and make those doctor's appointments. Let's make a deal with one another, okay? We'll do that. We'll be accountability partners. All right. Number 2 on my list. This is my favorite self-care activity, and that is rest. It is rest. So many of our issues, problems would be solved if we took the necessary time to rest. And sometimes it's not even about taking the rest, right? Because sometimes we have so much, we want to rest, but we have overloaded ourselves to the point where we can't properly rest. Or perhaps we're going through some changes in our lives and in our hormones where Rest is really difficult because of flashes and night sweats and restless legs and all the things that come with being an aging woman in 2025. Rest does not always come easy, but when we find opportunities for rest, we need to take them. We need to take them. So many of our issues that are stress related, that come with things like brain fog and not being able to think clearly, feeling as though you're not getting enough done. Some of those issues can resolve themselves with proper rest, Now, I'm not going to say, I will say you should be getting 8 hours of sleep every night. However, I realize that 8 hours, not everybody needs 8 hours. Some people need a little more. Some people can operate just fine with a little bit less. I want you to set a goal for yourself in terms of your rest quotient. What do you need? Determining what you need. You might say, okay, I operate really well with 6 hours of sleep, but it's 6 hours of sleep a night. But I do feel better and I feel more energized when I can take a little afternoon nap, let's say a 30-minute or an hour power nap. Then I'm good to go for the rest of the day. How will you be intentional, again, deliberate about your rest so that you can function at an optimal level, that you can think clearly, that you have your most creative ideas, that you have the energy to do the things that you need to accomplish during the day? Being intentional about your rest, being deliberate about when you plug in time for rest is going to be a game changer for you if it's not already on your self-care list. Is something that you should be thinking about incorporating into your list, I would say every day. All right. Number 3, oh boy, another one that I love. All of these are things that I love, so I shouldn't say, oh, I love this one, because you already know. If it's on my list, I love it. The number 3 idea that should be on your self-care list: meditation. I read in a book recently that I think it was The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. I read that book every few years. I pick it back up. I have the hard copy here at home, but I really do love to read it. And every time that I pick that book up and reread it, I find something new. And this year I read that book for Lent because it is 40 days of reading. And so I just decided that, you know what, for Lent, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to read something every day and I'm going to take some notes. And boy, did it energize me and gave me a lot of creativity and a lot of drive, determination for the stuff that I'm doing right now. But one of the things that I read in the book earlier this year, it was about meditation. It was that prayer is when we talk to God. Meditation is when we listen. Prayer is when we talk to God. Meditation is when we listen. Okay? And so if you're someone who thinks that you cannot meditate, I have a few podcasts on the subject. I've talked about this quite a bit, and let me give you some episode numbers so that you can listen to it for yourself. You guys know that I'm a big fan, big proponent of meditation, and I've talked about it several times on the show. If you go back and listen to episode 36, you'll hear the 5 simple meditation hacks. So that's one resource. Another resource on the podcast is episode 10, Heavily Meditated. Those 2 episodes, game changers for you if you feel like, you can't meditate. But one of the reasons why I like it is because it allows us to quiet the mind. It allows us to explore. I love a good guided meditation, honey. That's my jam, where I don't really even have to think about what I want to meditate on. Those words and affirmations and the guidance is given to me. What I find with meditation is it allows me to turn my conscious brain off. I can calm my thoughts and my nerves and just really focus on an intention for the day. And it just creates just a sense of calm and peace where I can block it out for just a few minutes. So I love meditation. I think it's an important part of my day and in a way for me to set aside some time to really get centered and close with what God wants me to hear from him. So if you don't know, now you know. Meditation is one of my faves. I do it several times a week. I love it. And I think it's something that we all should be incorporating into our self-care routine. All right. Number 4, the fourth self-care idea that should be on your list, if it's not, some sort of movement or exercise. Now, I have told y'all before, I have a love-hate relationship with exercise. I love it because it does, if I'm being honest, it absolutely makes me feel good. I'm just not always motivated to do it. It's not my go-to. It's not the first thing that I think about. Again, I'd rather take a nap. But what I've learned, especially as someone with adult ADD, I realized that I have better focus. I'm more creative. I'm better able to do the things that I need to do during the day if I work out in the morning. So I have started really on this journey of trying to be as active as I can rather than laying around. And before I even start to work, I get up every morning, get my daughter off to school, and as much as I can, unless I have an appointment or somewhere to go or something else to do, I will go ahead and make time for exercise before I start working, because I find that I am so much better and have a lot more energy for the things that I need to do. Again, this is intentional. This is about being deliberate. This is about preserving my physical, mental, emotional health, having the things that I need later on in the day because of this self-care routine that I did first thing in the day. Right now, I am on a streak of about 67, 68 days straight of exercise. And I know that because I do Peloton. And shout out to Peloton, okay? They are not a sponsor of this program. However, if they'd like to be, love to have you. Meditations are on there. I can do yoga. I can do, I had a surprisingly amazing Pilates class today. And that was my first Pilates class ever. I ride the bike almost daily. I'm doing some sort of exercise every day, and it's been almost 70 days, 68 I think I'm at right now, and counting. I feel like that has been a game changer for me in terms of getting more mentally clear, getting greater focus, getting my work done. I do better work when I exercise. So it is definitely something that I have to be intentional about because it has a deliberate impact on other areas of my life. So if you aren't moving, if you aren't exercising regularly, I'm going to suggest that you add that to your self-care list. All right. Number 5. This is one that I did. I had a self-care challenge a few years ago, and this was one of the things that was on my self-care challenge. And so I had to run it back. And that is create an escape room. Create an escape room. Now that sounds a little silly, especially since if you are one of those people that have been to escape rooms, not necessarily the most relaxing experience. So I don't want you to think about it in terms of the escape rooms that you go and pay to figure out how to get out of there within a time period and with clues and all of that. When I say escape room, this is your room, your private place that you can escape to, whether that's physically escape, like we talked about earlier with the bathroom. Your bathroom could be your escape room. Mine, I will tell you, is it has been, it's changing a little bit because I'm a little overwhelmed by it now. But my escape room, the summer of 2020, which is when I did this challenge, was outside. I created an escape room outside. I created out of just a flat yard, a patio space that had a seating area for lounging, seating area for dining. I created my garden beds that I built by hand with my dad. I have started creating just these gardens around the perimeter, butterfly gardens and things like that. And so that was my escape room for 2020 and has been. Now things are, because of all the things that we did initially, things are so lush and overgrown that it is, I think I'm about to have to hire somebody to kind of help me manage it because it is insane, but it's still just such a beautiful space to just go out. And here's the thing with my escape room, with my outdoor space, because there's so much work always to do out there, nobody ever wants to come out there with me and do any of the work. So it is definitely a time when I go outside, I take my outdoor speaker, I turn on Pandora, I just start rocking out to my music, playing it as loud as I want. And I'm out there, the dog is out there, I'm picking vegetables, I might be making a flower arrangement. I might light the fire table and make some s'mores and drink my little wine. That is my escape room. It is a chance for me to get into my nature and listen to the birds chirping and freak out about frogs or the possibility of a snake, any and everywhere, and just be like, I just get to be. I really do love gardening, and that is just a joy. So creating an escape room. Now, again, yours might not be outside. Yours might be inside. It could be that room that right now it's a junk room, or it could be, where your office is set up, or a cozy area corner of a room that everybody uses, but this is just your space. Maybe it's just a chair, honey. Maybe it's your corner where a plant sits and a chair sits, and you have your pillows and a blanket, and you dare anybody to sit in your little corner because it's yours. It is your private space. I feel like everybody everywhere in every home needs their little corner, their nook, their space, and make that their escape where maybe they read, maybe they meditate, maybe they listen to their favorite music. Maybe they, I think I've told you guys too that one of my favorite things to do, one of my most relaxing things to do is cook. So if you are that person and you just like to cook, if cooking is your escape, and make sure you jazz up the space, doll it up a little bit, okay? Make it feel really, really special, a special place where you look forward to spending time there. So create your escape room. That's number 5. Number 6, big one. This is ask for help, okay? If nothing else is on your self-care to-do list, put that on there. Ask for help, okay? Saying you're fine when people ask how you're doing, especially people that can make a difference in your life and that really care about how you're doing, take a deep breath and be honest about how you're doing. I'm struggling today, sis. I'm really having a difficult time getting it done. I really need help with figuring out what to do about my child's, schoolwork. I'm really struggling with how to have better communication with my partner because we seem to always fight. I wish I had someone to talk to. Well, guess what? You probably do, and you probably are telling them that you're fine. Okay, so stop saying you're fine. And especially for those people who are important to you and that are asking you how you're doing and genuinely want to know how you're doing. How about you tell them? How about you tell them what you need? How about you ask for help? Maybe not even waiting on them to ask you what you need, but going ahead and saying, hey, I'm having a difficult time. Would you mind helping me with X, Y, and Z? You'll be amazed at how many people will jump at the chance to help you because they love you. And that's what love looks like. Also, another thing, in addition to asking for help, is not a separate thing on the list, but it is definitely 6A, saying no more. I think part of the reason we have to ask for help is because we've said yes to too many things, and now we're overwhelmed. We got too much on our plate, and we can't even think straight. So saying no more is also something that we could put on that self-care list because it definitely helps. Saying no, again, is an intentional and deliberate thing that helps to preserve our mental, physical, emotional health, okay? Saying no is necessary, and it hurts. It hurts us to have to say no. It hurts the people that we say no to. But in the long run, it preserves our ability to not only take care of ourselves, but to take care of others. If you do not have the wherewithal, the capacity, the mental fortitude, the strength to do something, and you know you don't, and furthermore, hither and too, you don't even want to, okay? A lot of us are saying yes to things that we don't even want to do, okay? If you know you ain't got it, okay? Don't agree to it. Say, I am so sorry. I really do wish I had it in me to do this, but I don't. I don't right now. It is beyond my ability. It's beyond my interest. It is beyond my capacity at this moment. And even if you said yes to something and now your stomach is in knots because you are not looking forward to it, you regret saying yes, you don't want to do it, call that person back. Call that person back and be as honest as you can be, but call them back. Don't wait till the last minute and don't just not show up, because that's a whole nother layer of anxiety. Call them people back and say, you know what? At the time I agreed to this, I thought I was going to be able to do it. But now looking at my schedule and looking at what I have on my plate, it's going to be nearly impossible for me to honor all of my commitments. And this is one that I'm going to have to relinquish. I hope I've given you enough time to find someone else that can do this. But right now, with what I have on my plate, I cannot commit to doing this in the fashion in which I would like to do it. Okay? There's your script. Okay? Rewind that back. There's your script of getting out of whatever it is you don't want to do. Okay? All right. That was number 6. Now we're on number 7. Hey guys, Dr. Tiff here. I am interrupting our regularly scheduled program because I'm realizing that this episode is taking way longer than I would like for it to. So I'm going to end the episode here and share the rest of it on the next episode. So be sure to come back for the next 6. I got you. I got you, boo. Come back, rock with your girl. I got you. Okay? I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Hey, babe, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My goal with this podcast is to bless you with information that helps you fix those relationships that are most important to you, but not before you do the self-work needed to make sure that those relationships thrive. If this episode was exactly what you needed, then guess what? Somebody else probably needs it too. So do me and them a favor. Please share this episode with your good girlfriend and let her know about the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. This really helps to grow the podcast and puts it right in front of other women who are desperate to work on their relationships and themselves. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded women all on a journey to become the one. You can sign up for free at becometheone.myflowdesk.com/email. I know that's a lot, so just go on over to the show notes and click that link there. Thanks again for listening to Fix Your Relationships with Dr. Tiff. I'll see you right back here next week.